On Duty with Inspector Field by Charles Dickens. How goes the night? St. Giles's clock is striking 9. The weather is dull and wet, and the long lines of street lamps are blurred as if we saw them through tears. A damp wind blows and rakes the pieman's fire out when he opens the door of his little furnace, carrying away an eddy of sparks. St. Giles's clock strikes 9. We are punctual. Where is Inspector Field? Assistant Commissioner of Police is already here and wrapped in oilskin cloak and standing in the shadow of St. Giles's steeple. Detective Sergeant, weary of speaking French all day to foreigners unpacking at the Great Exhibition, is already here. Where is Inspector Field? Chapter 1. Inspector Field is, tonight, the guardian genius of the British Museum. He is bringing his shrewd eye to bear on every corner of its solitary galleries before he reports all right. Suspicious of the Elgin marbles, and not to be done by cat-faced Egyptian giants with their hands upon their knees, Inspector Field, sagacious, vigilant, lamp in hand, throwing monstrous shadows on the walls and ceilings, passes through the spacious rooms. If a mummy trembled in an atom of its dusty covering, Inspector Field would say, "Come out of that, Tom Green. I know you." If the smallest gone-off about town were crouching at the bottom of a classic bath, Inspector Field would nose him with a finer scent than the ogres, when adventurous Jack lay trembling in his kitchen copper. But all is quiet, and Inspector Field goes warily on, making little outward show of attending to anything in particular, just recognizing the ichthyosaurus as a familiar acquaintance, and wondering, perhaps, how the detectives did it in the days before the flood. Will Inspector Field be long about this work? He may be half an hour longer. He sends his compliments by police constable and proposes that we meet at St. Giles's station house, across the road. Good. It were as well to stand by the fire, there, as in the shadow of St. Giles's steeple. Anything doing here tonight? Not much, we're very quiet. A lost boy, extremely calm and small, sitting by the fire, whom we now confide to a constable to take home. For the child says that if you show him Newgate Street, he can show you where he lives. A raving drunken woman in the cells who has screeched her voice away, and has hardly power enough left to declare, even with the passionate help of her feet and arms, that she is the daughter of a British officer, and strike her blind and dead. But she'll write a letter. Queen, but who is soothed with a drink of water, in another cell, a quiet woman with a child at her breast, for begging, in another, her husband in a smock frock with a basket of watercresses, in another, a pickpocket, in another, a meek, tremulous old pauper man who has been out for a holiday, and has took but a little drop, but it has overcome him after so many months in the house, and that's all as yet. Presently a sensation at the station house door. Mr. Field, gentlemen. Chapter 1. Inspector Field comes in, wiping his forehead, for he is of a burly figure, and has come fast from the ores and metals of the deep mines of the earth, and from the parrot gods of the South Sea Islands, and from the birds and beetles of the tropics, and from the arts of Greece and Rome, and from the sculptures of Nineveh, and from the traces of an elder world when these were not. Is Rogers ready? Rogers is ready, strapped and great-coated, with a flaming eye in the middle of his waist, like a deformed cyclops. Lead on, Rogers, to Rat's Castle.